This conference will now be recorded.
Hi team, in our last session, we discussed about what is DB2, and differences between DB2 and the files. So we discussed these two concepts theoretically in our last video. So in today's video, we are going to discuss DB2 components, DB2 architecture components, DB2 architecture components. So when you want to do hands-on, like when you are practicing or when you are executing SQL commands in project under, how internally the queries are going to execute, which component is going to play which role, that we are going to discuss in this particular we are going to discuss that particular things in DB2 architecture. I can say DB2 architecture. So we have something called SSAS and DBAS, SPAS, EDF, and IRLM. So these are all components in DB2. So what I do quickly, I'll take ChatGPT just to know the things. Is SSAS in DB2. So it's not a SQL service analysis. That is not I meant. So SSAS, DBAS, components, JetOS, DB2. Yeah. So you see that now we are getting the things right. So DB2 components list like SSAS, DBAS, IRLM. The first one is DBAS, database address space. The third one is, yeah, we are getting the things. Let it type everything. So we are getting a lot of things. I'll explain SSAS. Okay, subsystem analyzer and services. Okay, so according to the ChatGPT, what we are getting, subsystem analyzer. So the it monitors, analyzes the performance of various subsystem with the JetOS environment, including DB2. So basically, this particular component, SSAS component, what it does, team, if you want to start DB2, okay, so if the DB2 up and running, so if you want to know DB2 is up and running or not, so if you want to know them, okay, and if you want to record the logs, when you are in mobile, we have a log, right? So incoming calls, missed calls, the duration of the call, what time you got missed call, what time you called, either it is you called or you received or missed call. So we have a call log. Similarly, whatever the things you are doing, in this particular DB2 environment, the relevant details are going to store in SSAS component. SSAS component. The next one, we have something called DBAS. So database address space. What is the other component we have? Database address space. This is very, very important in DB2 architecture component. Okay, in DB2 architecture component. So whenever we execute the SQL query, so the execution part, and authorization and access, all validations and retrieving the data. So not only execution means either insert or selecting or updating, all the things will be taken care by DBAS. Okay, so DBAS component is going to do everything. Let me explain each one of them here. When we execute SQL command, so do I am authorized to execute that particular table? Let's say we have a table called table is equivalent to file in this occurrence as of now. I have a table one is there. So Venkat A user ID created. So who created the table one? Venkat A is the user ID created table one. Now can Venkat B can access Venkat B can Venkat B can access table one? That is a question. So that is a question. Okay. Answer is depends on Venkat A. If Venkat A has given to Venkat B, okay, I'll take an example: X user ID, Y user ID. If X user is given the access to Y on this particular table, then it is okay. Okay, so that is the one I am talking about. Okay, authorization. So do you have access to the table? If yes, then you can able to access it. Very good. You are able to access it. Okay, authorization is there. Or the other way we can say that. So do you have a access? You have a access to use create command, or can I execute update command against table one, right? These are all the queries I can say. So what does mean team? You have a table access to retrieve the data from the table one, but you're trying to update it. So that validation also will be done in this particular component only. So authorization, access, and execution part, nothing but retrieving the data, all of them will be taken care by DBAS component. Then, so we have something called SPAS. So if you go, I'll go to here. So DBAS, SSAS, IRLM, DB2. Let me see the components. So we can call all of them as a address spaces also. I want to this is the one I am looking. So system services address space. So I want to correct here. This is the one. Now you can see we got some help from ChatGPT, but this is not the right one. Okay, I'm looking for this. This is the one. System services address space. So these services starts, I told you, right? Start, okay, up and running. The starts stop DB2 and controls local access to DB2 for JetOS. It performs various system related functions. So this component is responsible to start and stop your DB2 system, DB2 subsystem. The entire logs also going to store in SSAS. Then database, services and address space. The one, this is okay, more or less DB, database, services and address space. So the database services, DBAS is responsible for accessing relational database that controlled by DB2 for JetOS. It provides most database related services. So yeah, so this is high level information, but you can remember sorry, the things which I told you. Okay, the next one, we have a distributed data facility. The let me talk about SPS, ASPAS. So if you want to execute a stored procedures, if you want to execute a stored procedures, we need stored procedure address space. In DB2, if you want to execute a stored procedure, then we need this component. So this component is responsible to activate stored procedure concepts. If this is there, then we can execute stored procedures. Then distributed data facility, that is a DDF. So this particular space supports network communication with the other remote systems. What is the advantage of, what is the role of this one team? So, so this particular DDF services address space is supports network communication with the other remote systems and execution of the database access request on behalf of the remote users to support distributed database services. So some from other system, we are some other system is connecting to DB2. Okay, some other system is trying to connect DB2 remotely. So this component is going to help us to establish a network or communication between the other system which is located in different place with this particular DB2. Then so DB2 uses IRLSM to control access to database resourcing and locking. So for locking purpose, we use IRLM, okay, internal resource lock manager. So these are all address spaces, okay, IRLM, internal resource log manager. So these are all, I can say, DB2 components are DB2 address spaces are DB2 address spaces in the JetOS environment. In the JetOS environment. Okay, so let me explain a little bit more about IRLM team. So as I was telling you in another video, right? So I have a file. I'm taking example of file. So there is a one record. This is the first record. I have a second record, then third record, fourth record, fifth record. So we are having total 5 records in our file. Can I able to only lock this row? Rest of the rows give access to other user. Can I do it? No. So once you open this file in edit mode, though you are modifying only one field, you cannot touch rest of the fields or entire file. So the by default, when you open the file in edit mode, the entire file is going to locked. Okay, that is the nature of that particular mainframe environment on this file system. That is the nature of the, that is a system, how it works on files. So if I go with the same pattern, I have a DB2. Okay, so we have a DB2. Here we call as a records, right? So the terminology is we call as a file mechanism records. In DB2 we call as a row. So here we call as a row, and the third row, fourth row, and fifth row. Now there is a provision, there is an option for us. Okay, not as means as a not a developer, the admin and those people can handle all of them, whatever I am saying now. So this is not our headache as a developer. You no need to worry about all of them. As simple as this is just for your knowledge how it works and all of them. Okay, but you should have some knowledge when you're talking to your client, when you're talking to when you're attending the interviews and all. This might help you. Sorry. So in DB2, assume that there are 5 rows. Now I can apply a lock only row level. So I can apply lock at row level. Apply the lock row level. What does mean? If I am accessing this row, if I am accessing this row, okay, other users cannot access this. In the sense you cannot update it, but you can give a read access to that to bring more consistency in our data. The second one and 2 and 4, they can modify it. So how much what is the level of access, what is the level of access, right? So the level of access is more when you talk about the files. So entire file is locked over here. So except 3, the rest of the rows can access by other user. So that is a more flexible options are there in DB2. You can say this is a one of the difference between file and DB2 as well as. So why I explained the different system, because the locking mechanism can be done with the IRLM component in DB2 for ZOS. Okay, so these are all address spaces. What these are all? These are all the address spaces. So if you go to, you can try in your client system, because in the training server we cannot see that. Okay, in training system you cannot see that, but if you are working in already project, you guys can try. So go to the spool. How you can see this all address spaces are there or not? Go to spool, just set. You can search or find the job which is starting with the this way. So the SS, okay, the SSAS component is going to start with the SS and NM. So DBM one is the common. This is going to change. Okay, when it comes to only this content is can change, but DBM will be there. So I guess this is DBAS. Then so whereas SSAS, whether this component is this address, this particular component is active or not, if you want to know, just go to the spool, check it, the similar job is there or not. MSTR is the common, the initial characters might change, so you can locate whether it is there or not. Okay, so if these are all active jobs, which means that on this particular subsystem these are all up and running, that we can say these are all active, I can say. Okay, so these are all the DB2 address spaces. Okay, these are all address spaces in DB2. So each address space, what is going to play, which role is going to play, that I explained till now. Any query so far? Okay, that's all about DB2 address spaces or DB2 components. Now we discuss. Now we discuss. In this video we are going to discuss DB2 objects. we are going to discuss DB2 objects. Okay, so before I explain DB2 objects, let me explain the terminology. So in our earlier videos, we discussed only introduction to DB2, differences between them, DB2 address spaces. Now, who are new to database, first time if they are attending, then you should know all of them. How you can compare DB2 with the files in terms of terminology. So let me go with a different way. File and DB2. So here we call as a file. Here we call as a table. Here we call as a record. DB2 we call as a row. In file we call as a field. In DB2 we call as a column. Okay. So these are only key important things, but there are so many other terminologies also. We can you guys can Google it. So we have something called normalization. There are so many things are there. You can discuss all of them. Okay, I mean you can Google and explore that. Yeah, so our target is in this course is all about DB2, and having you might be having minimal knowledge about the database. Okay, so to attend to go through it, you should have minimal knowledge about the database. So if you doesn't know, you pause this, then go back, spend 1 day 3 4 hours, watch it, the videos in Google, and get an idea about database. What is the database? Okay, what is information, what is the data, what is database. You try to understand all of them. Okay, right. So let's discuss what DB2 objects are, right? So DB2 objects are, we can divide the objects are two types. One is, we are coming slowly, we are entering into the practical part now. So there is a, we have a two types of objects: system defined object and user defined object. Okay, you might be having a question, hey Venkat, first of all, I don't know about DB2 itself, we are talking about objects, right? Yes. Okay, this is again is beginning only, it is a starting. So in DB2, everything is an object. Everything is an object. So table is an object. There is a something called storage group is an object. There is a table space is an object. Table is an object. View is an object. Stored procedure is an object. View is an object. Everything is an object in DB2. Then why there are two types of objects? So we have something called system defined object. The other one is user defined object. So if any object is created and controlled by any object is created controlled by end user, and by user, so that is a developer, I can say, or DB2 DBA. So there is a DB2 DBA or whoever creates the user defined. Okay, that object, so that object is called user defined object. Any object is created controlled by the user is called user defined object. Okay, so when it comes to system dependent object, so during DB2 software configuration time, during DB2 software configuration time, during DB2 software configuration time, by default some tables will be created. Okay, by default some tables will be created, some objects will be created. So and we those objects data and columns are automatically will be updated. So example, I'll take one example here. So there is a sys IBM dot sys columns. Or yeah, I'll take another example, sysibm dot sys table. So these two things will not be created by anyone as either DB2 DBA or main or DB2 developer. So when you are trying to install or configure the DB2 software in your JetOS operating system, automatically these two components will come. So we no need to do put any efforts. All right, according to my knowledge, because I did not do anything here practically. So now what it contains, team, this table contains the columns. What is the column? Is a field. What is the field or column? So table name. The column is what? Table name. And who is the owner of the table? When it got created, when it got created, this table belongs to which table space? Call as a table space. So this table is belongs to which database? And so on. I kept only couple of columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. So when it comes to this one, in this table, we will be having a column. Very good. Column number, it is the first column number or second or in a column name. So I say column name, and this column belongs to which table? This column belongs to which table? What is the data type of the table? What is the data type of the field or column? What is the length of the column? Is it is allowing null or not? Null, yes or no? Is it a primary key or not? So these details will be there in this. So these are the columns will be there by default in this. Again, I am telling you only I listed few of them which are very important, but there are so many are there which may not required for us as a developer. So when the data is going to populate either in this table or in this table, that might be your question, right? Now, so we have a command, called create. So we have a command called create. So using create a command, I can create a employee table. I can create an employee table. I can have a employee ID column and a employee name, employee address, employee phone number. And this table is created by Venkat A user. Who is the user? Venkat A. So now when I create the table, automatically in the back end, so once the table is created successfully, so it is going to populate whoever, this is a common for everyone, whoever connect to that particular DB2 subsystem, all those users details will be there, not only for Venkat A, whoever belongs to that particular subsystem, I automatically it will be there. So table name, what is the table name? EMP. Who is the owner? Venkat A. When it is created 23rd April, some format, okay, 24 like that. Then table space, I'll say X, database is Y. This is all about table. Then there is a something automatically here also will be updated. So what is the first column? 1. Then what is the column name? Employee ID. This column belongs to which table? EMP. What is the data type? I can say character 10. I'll talk about data types eventually later. Character 10. Is it allowing null values or not? Null is nothing but unknown value. It is not a garbage value. It is not a space. Yes, it allows the null value. It is not a primary key. Then what is the second column? We have 2. Automatically, this I'm explaining by writing, but these values are automatically populated. The employee name, this belongs to which table, all will be there under the system defined object. Okay, so I hope you got the clarity. Now I can delete this EMP table. We can modify the EMP table, but not this one. You cannot touch this one. These are all predefined. So I hope you are clear. Right. So this is all about DB2 objects. All the, we can categorize, not things. We can categorize objects into two types. One is system defined object, the other one is user defined objects. So we have a different types of objects. I mean, these are all categorically, but there are different types of objects are there. One is storage group. Okay, the other one is database. The third one is table space. The fourth one is a table, and we have another view synonym. Okay, these are all DB2 objects. Okay, what we call, these are all DB2 objects. So can you please list out DB2 objects? DB2, write DB2 ZOS, because we have a DB2. See, is it going to give the things or not? Yeah, you see that table spaces, tables, indexes. What is the other one? Indexes. I did not write. What is the next one? We have views. I was telling you, right? Views, alias, alias. Then we have a trigger, stored procedures, stored procedures. Then we have something called synonyms. Okay, synonyms, synonyms. What else we did not? Yeah, we have something called schema. We don't do, I think, that schema. Even package and plans. Okay, even package. They're all objects. When somebody asks what are the DB2 objects, these are all different types of objects. Okay, these are all the different types of objects. Now, okay, we eventually in this course we are going to discuss one by one when what is required. So whenever and whichever the topic is required, we'll discuss it. So at this moment, I don't elaborate, I don't discuss each one in detail, because it is going to become more heavy for you, as it is a theory. Keep discussing, we are keep discussing the theory, right? So if you want to create a storage group, okay, let me explain a few objects in high level, because all of them may not be required for us. At the same time, we are not going to discuss everything in detail practically also. Okay, I listed to tell you that these are all objects. It doesn't mean that I am going to explain everything. It is not needed as a developer, and as it is not an advanced course, right? Not issue depth of it. So let's discuss few things now. There's something called storage group. There's something called storage group. So what is a storage group, team? It's a collection of volumes is called storage group. I'll go here. Let me write what is storage group. David advice David. Yeah, we got the solution, by the way. Here it is there. Okay, we don't need to see in depth. I said already collection of volumes, but if you want a proper definition, you see that. A storage group is a logical grouping of one or more physical storage volumes. So when I say volumes, storage volumes, okay. In mainframe, the entire dash D, right, direct access storage device, is divided into volumes. So we are going to use a couple of volumes. We are going to logically group them, and we will give the name called storage group. Storage groups are used to manage allocation, organization of the storage space for database objects such as the table spaces and indexes. Ultimately, okay, so the table spaces and indexes are going to sit, okay, all are going to sit in this particular storage group. So where all of them are going to sit in the storage group. So if somebody asks you what is the storage group, you say that it's a collection of physical volumes, collection of physical storage volumes is called as a storage group. So if you want little bit more, I guess you can go through all of them eventually later. So the next one, I told you, right, this storage group, as a developer, we don't deal that at all. Okay. So how the, to just to set the context or background of the storage group, where when it is not required for us, then why you are teaching, right? So I'll tell you, to create a table, the how it happens. First, you need a storage group. We have a DB2 hierarchical structure will be there. DB2 objects hierarchical. So first, step one, we need to create storage group. So we need to create. We means DB2 DBA. In most of the cases, DB2 DBA is going to create storage group. Is going to create a storage group that I can say, okay, using create command. So create is a command. Create is a command in SQL. Okay, create is a command to create the table. So using create command, we can create the storage group. Let's say, for instance, I'll give SG1. What is the storage group? SG1. Next, so we have something called database. The next level, the under storage group, what it become? Database. So database is a logical name. Okay, it's a logical name. So if you see what is database object gateways DB2. So if you see, I'll copy this. So database objects are refers to any structure that refers to manage. The objects are created within the database schema. Yeah. So basically, it is a logical name. Okay. To maintain and organize the tables in a proper way. So database is going to help us. So database is a logical. I can say it's a logical like address for your home. Okay, you are staying in home, so you need address. The address is uh, this is the database for tables and all of them, right? So the next one is, and again step 2 will be done by the DB2 DBA. DBA is going to create database using again create command. So very important thing, okay, while creating database, while creating while creating a database, while creating a database, so we need to mention admin. We means admin. We need to mention, okay, this database is going to store in which database storage group. So there is a linking. So there is going to link. So I'll say SG1 for this instance. So in this SG1, this database is going to sit. Let's say in this occurrence, our database is DB1. So what is the database name? You say DB1. Next, There is another component called table space. So there is a different types of table spaces are there in latest. Okay, what are the, just I'll go, search in what are the table spaces in ZOS DB2. So we have a simple table space. I'll list out before it results. Simple table space. I'm not going to explain all of them, by the way. So simple table space, segment table space, and partition table space. Okay, so there is a simple, you see that simple table space, uh, segmented table space, and blob table spaces. So different, several types of table spaces. What are those? Simple, segment, and there is something called LOBS, which I don't know much. So this is the one. There are so many things are listing by ChatGPT. As you know, ChatGPT is going to help, but not 100%. This is the example for you. So we are getting, but to decide which is the correct, you should have a knowledge. Getting my point? So you cannot rely or trust on 100% on ChatGPT. Just ChatGPT is a helper for you. Okay, without having proper knowledge. Okay, without having some context and the things, you cannot, as it is, copy paste and done it. It's not possible, as per my knowledge at this moment. If you give detailed manner, see, if you give detailed manner also, which means that you should know, right? Without knowing, you cannot do anything. Yeah, comes to here. Okay, so the physical actual data. Okay, so if I say employee ID, I will give a 1. Name, I'll give a Venkat. So I will give address is India. Phone number, I will give +917999774508. So this data, this is the actual data, right? So this actual data is going to store physically in table space. you know I'll give an example for you. So we have a folder. So folder is a organizer, right? What is a folder? It is an organizer, like in organizing things in our laptop. So you have a C drive, D drive. In a D drive, we have some folder to keep all your movies, to keep our songs, or to keep your study material. Okay, material, soft copy material and all. So but where actually stores? It stores on the dash D, right? Storage device, hard disk or SSD, whatever. Am I correct? So if you want to bring that part into here, like the table space is the ones are the way the data is going to store. Okay, so we have something called a table in this context. Table again is a logical name. Okay, it is a structure in which structure the data needs to be stored. Okay, how many columns should be there, how many data types are there. Okay, according to that particular structure, you keep inserting the data. When you keep insert the data, that will be present here in the table space. So again, in the step 3, there is the hierarchical structure. Third one is table space. So DB2 DBA needs to create, we need to create a table space. Okay, so we need to create a table space. While you're creating a table space, you should mention this table space in which database you want to store, this database where you want to store. The DB1 is belongs to its storage group. So the linking should be there over here. So again, we use create command only. Here also we use create command only to create the table space. While you are creating the table space, you should mention type of the table space, either simple table space or segmented table space or partition table space. What type of the table space you want to use for this? Again, we have a differences there. There are some differences between them. Okay, as we are not discussing at this moment. Okay, so and we don't discuss in this course as well as, right? So you can explore them because it's totally belongs to DB to DBA perspective. We don't want to get into that way. So we use create command to create table space. While you are creating the table space, you should mention as an input to that command what type of the table space is a simple or segment. While you are creating a file, you should mention it is a PS file or PDS, right? Same way. Okay, very good. While you are creating a table space, you should mention this table space is going to sit in which database. The database is linked with a which storage group. All of them we need to mention, or only table space, or I'm not sure, but you should mention database, no doubt it. Okay, that I know. Next, the last one, where from here we are going to start our content. Okay, so we use create command. Okay, so we use create command to create the table. While you're creating the table, we should mention table space dot database. I'll talk about the syntax eventually later, not now. In another video I'll explain create command, the commands. But in high level, we use table is a structure. What is a table? It is a structure. So what are the columns should be there? What are the columns should be there in a table? Should be there in table, and data types of them. Data types, which columns you want to make primary key, or which column you want to make a primary key, which column you want to make unique key. All of them you can mention while you are creating a table. So and table is should be in data which table space, which database we need to mention those details. Without them you cannot create a table in mainframe. Okay, so when I tell you DB2 objects hierarchical, storage group, database, table space, and table. So without table space I cannot create a table. Without table space I cannot create a without database I cannot create the table space. Without storage group I cannot create database. Hence there is a dependency. Hence that's why I said it is a I know DB2 objects hierarchical structure. So that's all related to objects. We can categorize objects into two things: system defined, user defined. So as user can create your own user storage group, that is called user defined object. Similarly, database can be created by user, table space, table. All objects can create uncontrolled by DB2, DBA, or we if you have access to do it. So hence these are all will come under user defined objects. These details should store somewhere else. Those are all system defined objects. That's all related to DB2 objects in JetOS DB2. Yeah. So any queries so far? Repeated so far?
Yes, Venkat.
Now in this video we are going to discuss DB2 data types. We are going to discuss DB2 data types. So I'll explain important data types and I will show you apart from important what else we have, everything. First data type is a small integer. What is that? Small integer. So it is a numeric data type. This data type will come under numeric data type, numeric type. So if you declare a column with the small integer, I can store only integer, only numeric data. Only I can store numeric data. If I want to store any character data or special character, this particular small doesn't allow. Then there is another type is integer. Okay, so integer again to store numeric data only. Even integer also used to store numeric data, but the range, the size. So if you go and see, small int size in GetOS DB2. So we have some range values only we can store. We cannot store the range, the value which we want. Yeah, you see that. What is the range value you can store? So minus. So if you declare a column with this small integer, how much range value you can store? You can store a positive value or negative value. But I cannot store 60,000. So I cannot store this amount in the small integer. This value I cannot store because minus 32,768 to 767 is valid. That is a size in terms of size. So how many bytes is going to occupy? 2 bytes. So if you take one customer is declared as a small integer, one column data, how many bytes is occupied? 2 bytes. Okay. So similarly, other data types, I'm not given any DB2 or something because it will going to get the previous one. You see integer. So if you want to know the integer range, let me wait. I'll remove it. So if you go with the integer, so this much range value I can store integer. Can I store 10 digit in India? The important one is 10 digit phone number. Can I store 10 digit phone number? So 336 plus 3 9 and 10. So will I able to store my contact number like this 77450857, sorry, 79977450857, 799774580. Can I store this value in this? Is it possible, guys? Can I
Yes, Venkat.
store? How it is possible? The trailing number is starting with a 7. This is starting with a 2, right? Are you getting my point? The range.
Yes, yes.
So this range I can store here. No, right? Because if you see this is how much. Now count it. I'll remove commas for better understanding. Total how many digits see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 digit is allowing, no problem. But in the 10 digit, the first digit should be either minus 2 plus 2. Okay, if I give minus 3, it doesn't allow over here. Are you getting my point? So here you cannot fit, here you cannot fit. So there might be other data type, right? So there might be other data type. So we have a big integer. So you can see the big integer range. So you got only the all are numeric type only thing. There is no difference, but only the size range. You see that 3, 6, 9, 12. So more than you know 12 digit value you can store it. Okay. So whereas this is going to occupy, this column data is going to occupy 4 bytes. This is going to occupy 8 bytes because size is different, right? Big integer. So this is another data type in DB2. So we have a decimal where you want to store the decimal values. I'll go here, decimal, I'll give precision and scale. P stands precision, P stands precision, and S stands scale. So if you see, it allows you to specify total number of digits and number of digits at the right side of the decimal. Scale is nothing but after decimal, how many digits you want to store. Okay, so I'll give an example also for you. Decimal I'll declare 7 comma 2. How it works, total 7 digits including decimal. In 7 digits, how many decimals are there? 2. So, so 2 decimals in 7 digit value, in 7 digits, which means that, so before decimal 5 digits and after decimal 2 digits. So if you club everything, it will become a 7. I will give you another example for you. Decimal 11 comma 3. So before decimal how many digits? 9. After decimal how many digits? 2. So that is like this: 9 of 9, 9 of 3. No, sorry, I am wrong. 9 of 8, 9 of 3. This is something, it looks like this. So before decimal 8 digit, after decimal you can store 3 digit. Same case with the, instead of decimal, have a other one also. We have something called numeric. Okay, so we have something called numeric, same case. There is a slight difference is there, but more or less our core behavior is same. Either you can go with the decimal, precision scale, numeric. The next one, so character. Okay. What is the other data type in DB2 is a character. So how we declare in DB2? So CHAR of size. Okay, n. So n is, what is the n size? Maximum size 255. N maximum, instead of n I can give 255. Maximum size of the n is a 255. The length, it is a stored fixed length character. I'll talk about the differences between character and var character somewhere in the course. Okay, so when you go through all the videos, you'll get to know that. That is all about character. So var character, this is going to change. Okay, so I'll tell you differences between them later, both of them. Well, I am going to create a table, there I'll explain to you. So date, so the date format, it should be like this. You cannot store as your wish. Okay, you cannot store as your wish. You should store always in this format: 4ys, dd, yy. Okay, so date to store the date of birth or date of joining, and all. Same case with the time. So time is hours, minutes, seconds. This is the format. If you want to store in another format, you need to define in a different way. By default, this is the default format. If you don't follow this format, you will get SQL error code -180 or -181. I'll talk about why this error codes comes and all later. Okay, these are all SQL error codes. So timestamp also is there. Okay, so for timestamp we have the combining of date and time is there. So here you can see how many are there. Few more data types. Let's see, is it going to give other data types? We have so many. Okay, not only 9. Yeah, you see that there is a graphic, club, blob. Yeah, you see that club is there, blvb blob is there, where graphic. So these are all other data types. Okay, these are all other data types in db2. So we have a boolean, there is something called array. I'll list out, I'll copy paste it and refer it eventually, you can refer it. So that's all related to DB2 data types in high level. So we will be using them in another other videos, and we will be discussing all of them while you are creating the tables. That's all for this particular video. Yeah, any queries team? I am done for the day.
Yeah. Hi, Venkat.
So